Hi everyone, and welcome to the Franchising Matters video series brought to you by Reshift Media. My name's Steve Bjors, and I'll be your host. I'm joined today by Gary Prenevost, who's the president of FranNet of Southern Ontario and Eastern Canada, as well as an entrepreneur, a coach, and an author. Gary's more than 30 years of experience in the Canadian franchising industry makes him a much sought-after consultant for people that are considering franchise ownership. Connecting great people with proven and viable franchise businesses is Gary's mission. To achieve this goal, Gary's a multi-unit franchisee with FranNet, which is a consulting company that helps people who are considering self-employment as a career option. Gary and his team at FranNet have helped over 2,000 prospective franchisee clients to fully explore their self-employment options. On top of all that, Gary's also the author of the Unstoppable Franchisee, which is a boots-on-the-ground book written for franchisees who are looking to improve their business results. Welcome to the show, Gary.
Thank you, Steve. It's a pleasure to be here.
So you have so much on the go, Gary. We obviously know each other well, and we've been talking over the years. I just got to open it up. Like as one of the best known people in franchising and all the experience you have, I actually don't know how you got into franchising in the first place. You want to tell us a bit about that?
It was completely by accident, as is common with so many people. I was in a family business, live and artificial tropical plants. We were interior scapers, and one of my customers was a franchisor. And long story short, I got over the course of a couple of years, I got recruited away from them and started selling franchises for them. It was a training company, sales management leadership company. It wasn't a pure franchise at the time. This was pre-franchise law. But within 7 months, I bought my own franchise and then worked at the franchisor, training, coaching, supporting franchisees, doing that myself. 8 years later, we had FranNet as one of our lead sources. And then 2 years later, FranNet recruited me away from that company. And here I am, 22 years later almost.
Now, hang on, though. Do you still have a passion for interior plants?
I used to know plants by name, and the short answer, no.
What a different life that would have been if you the other road taken.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we always got to the root of the problem.
Oh, good one. Good one. I like that. Well, so with that, interesting story how you got into it. So how do you have this kind of longevity in this business, Gary? Like, what do you attribute your success to?
I think with any business, Steve, it's about understanding what the customer needs and being several steps ahead of them, not just what they need today, but where is the market shifting? I've always taken the long view to what a business needs, whether I'm working with customers, finding the businesses, working with franchisors and their franchisees doing keynotes, what has to happen, and reverse engineer it backwards so that where they are now, they can take immediate action to. It's have the vision, set the goals, break it down into action steps, and then execute, and then track and measure and adjust.
Well, I like that. Good fundamentals there. And, you're so well known, right? I think that's a big piece of it too, is just the amount of information you have about the industry. I have to think that at this point, people are just coming to see you. That must be a big piece of it too, is being as sought after as you are, you must get a bit of a snowball effect in terms of success breeding success, I would think.
Referrals have always been our number one source, and any good business, the entrepreneur focuses on nurturing referral clients. And I think that comes down to the customer experience. So many people buy a franchise because they think the brand is going to do the work. Well, they've got to deliver the brand promise of that franchise, and that's what they've got to focus on. So for myself, what is my brand? It's about having the client. I care about the right deal, Steve, not the deal. I could do a lot more transactions if I didn't care where people ended up. I've always looked at, I got to sleep at night. I have to make sure the people that I help get into business, they're in the right business where they can meet and exceed their financial and lifestyle goals. Fast forward to the book and why I started looking at why do so many franchisees not achieve the success that they do. I was a number one franchisee for FranNet, been constantly in the top 3 to 5. And I was wondering, why don't other FranNetters do more with the systems? And I started looking around at all the other franchises, and same thing. And I thought, has anybody ever gone after a industry solution? And I didn't find one. And there's lots of vertical solutions, like things for the food industry or things for different industries, but there was nothing universal. So I started a 2-year research journey, not knowing if I'd find anything.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the book. I wanted to ask you about that. So I understand that USA Today named your book, The Unstoppable Franchisee, as one of the 10 best books to buy to grow your business in 2024. Like, I that is such an accomplishment. Like the top 10, like that's amazing. Tell me about that.
Even when you say it, it still gives me goosebumps, and it's kind of surreal. According to Forbes, there's 11,000 business books written every year. With USA making the top 10, and just some of the other authors on that list, to be included in that is a deep honor, and it's tremendously humbling. It's pretty exciting as well, because I wrote the book for existing franchisees to take their business to the next level. And there's 7 core drivers, 5 of which are also applicable to non-franchise businesses. And I think that's what USA Today saw, was that here's a book. It's not just here's the content. I created a workbook and a whole series of exercises that digest the knowledge, make it personal, apply it. And I remember when I went through one of my early books was Think and Grow Rich, and I used that book, constantly referred to it, and then Good to Great, constantly going back. And I just wanted to write that evergreen book. So I'm pretty excited that other people recognize it as such.
Well, I can tell you, as someone who has a copy of the book, a signed copy, thank you, Gary, it's a great read. Lots of good information in there. You talk to so many people as part of your research, right? What sorts of people did you talk to?
I interviewed over 30 CEOs, some of the CEOs of some of the biggest franchises on the planet, some fast-growing franchises, their CEOs, some emerging CEOs. And the focus was, what are their top franchisees, their top 1% to 4% of their entire franchisee population? What are those traits and characteristics, Steve? And what do those franchisees do that the rest of the franchisees don't? And just as importantly, what do they avoid doing or they not do that the rest of the franchisees kind of are comfortable doing? And then I interviewed their top 1% to 4% franchisees with the same kind of, are the franchisees saying the same thing as the brand leadership? And that's how the 7 drivers came up. I didn't know if I went looking for one visible thread. I found 7, and probably the biggest surprise was the interdependence driver on how important top franchisees utilize the collective brain trust of the entire franchise system. Other franchisees, conferences, like really embrace it, whereas a lot of franchisees just sip at it.
Well, it's really interesting because that's the power of franchising. We always talk about that, but you've gotten empirical data that proves that that's one of the main value propositions. That's amazing. I love that. So tell me, Gary, where can people buy the book?
Amazon. So Amazon.ca, Amazon.com, the bookstores. If they want bulk orders, like franchisors want to buy it in bulk, I've had numerous franchisors buy it for their entire systems. I can give pricing and better deals on that. So, the unstoppablefranchisee.com, the website that you did for us. Thank you very much. Awesome website. Get lots of compliments on it.
That's great. Yeah. So the unstoppablefranchisee.com. Fantastic. So Gary, someone who's as plugged into the franchise industry as you are, what, in your opinion, are the things or things that franchisors should be thinking about right now?
Well, there's so many things that cram the brain on this. I think the most important, I've always taken the philosophy, the franchisor's number one responsibility is ensuring the profitability and success of the franchisees. That comes to having good systems and constantly innovating. And this is where a lot of franchisees don't recognize just how much the franchisor is innovating on an ongoing basis. Just take AI as an example right now. AI isn't going to change it's not going to have franchise that offer AI, but we know how much it's going to accelerate the experience. The great franchisors are using AI to harvest better data about the customer experience, about how to respond to that customer more quickly or more effectively or differently, helping the franchisees look at their performance and their fulfillment chain, whether it's retail or production. So better tools. Technology has always been around, and what's the next iteration? Great franchisors are looking for how can we continue to expand and support our franchisees better. I think one of the most important areas that franchisors should be looking at is around the field coaching and really escalating the amount of coaching that they do with their franchisees. I see time and time again, the strongest franchise systems have really good support mechanisms where the field coach, Steve, is a trusted resource to the franchisee. Think about your own great accomplishments in your life. And this is for the audience. Just reflect back for a moment on one of your most important accomplishments. That might have taken years of study and grinding and effort and practice, if it's sports or whatever. I'll bet you, when you think about who helped you get there, you had a coach or a mentor or trusted advisor. For some people, it might be parents. Well, the franchise field coach can be that person, but so many franchisees don't let them in. They don't trust them. They think it's they're just trying to find things that I'm not doing right. Well, no, that's not great. Great organizations have candor and trust, and hey, you've got this hurdle. Let's help you through it. You've got this opportunity. Let's help you capitalize it. Who here in the system has done this before? And how do we really maximize this? That's just what I saw when I interviewed all these franchisees, these top 1% to 4%. They just harness that and share it willingly. Sorry, I get excited about this.
It's a really interesting insight. Again, talking about the power of franchising, but it's interesting, as you say, that area manager that comes around, that is a person who can share best practices, like that's part of their job. So it's really interesting that you bring that up, and just making sure that, again, franchising is all about working together and having good systems and having good processes and innovating on technology, as you rightly said. So it does seem that is the big opportunity for franchisees. So well said.
Yes. If I could add one thing, for the people who are thinking about becoming franchisees, this is about managing expectations, understanding that buying a franchise, you're going to work harder than you ever have at anything in your life, but you're building it for yourself. So the first couple of years of grinding and sacrifice, then you get the business really on plane, and you can drive the trajectory. Do you want to protect the lifestyle, or do you want to really scale it? That's up to how you execute. But it comes back down to what are the roles that drive success in the business, and what is the mindset? Driver number one in my book was mindset, grow a next level mindset, because as an entrepreneur, it is a life of learning. You don't stop, and you got to roll with the opportunities and the challenges and the setbacks. And those are brought to us to teach us lessons, Steve. Whether it's a great lesson, wow, that was really awesome. How do I get more of it? Or if it's a challenge, ouch, that hurt like hell. Let's make sure we avoid it from now on. Well, so many people don't pay attention to the lesson. So I think driver number one on mindset, and then the driver number two on awareness. Where am I at really right now? So many people don't take time to pause. Even in nature, there's work, there's rest, and then there's work. Every day, what do? We go to sleep. We don't get enough sleep. We don't have too great a day the next day. We get 4 nights of bad sleep. We're a sack of hammers the 5th day. Right? So, but in business, it's work, grow, plateau, get into the comfort zone, rest there for a little while, reflect. How do I get here? Recognize that what got me here isn't going to get me to my next goal. So what else do I have to grow and learn? Now reapply and re-up. So it's an ongoing rest, work, rest, reflect, work, rest, reflect, work, and you scale a business to the degree that you want. Understand before you buy the business what the capabilities are and what the roles are.
Very, very well said. And I like that. Inherent in what you just said is it's based on the effort you put in, right? If you're willing to keep scaling and growing, the opportunity's there if you're willing to put in the work. I love that. So Gary, again, amazing on the book, amazing wealth of experience. Do you have any last thoughts you'd like to share with the audience?
Yeah, I ran the training company for over 10 years, and I saw what people are capable of. And I look at any franchisee, any entrepreneur. Generally, I think we're more capable, far more capable of what we're doing. In a lot of cases, I never thought possible, Steve. With the right combination of growing that next level mindset, it's got to start here. That I believe it, I can do it. How, right? And then building awareness on the conditions where you're at and the resources available, and then making a commitment to that focused learning in a few critical areas. And so many people, I'm going to learn all these things, and then they stop. 1 or 2 or 3 things maximum. Learn it, know it, internalize it, make it part of your systems, and then build onto the next one. I said, that's what it takes to, what I just finished saying. It's grow, work and grow, rest, reflect, work and grow. So that's a cycle.
I love it. Well, thank you, Gary, for sharing your thoughts, sharing the amazing insights. Thanks to everyone who's listening in. If you haven't done so already, I encourage you to click the like and subscribe to stay up to date with all of our episodes. Thanks, everyone, for your time, and have a great day.
Thank you.